Hello everyone, my name is Vladimir, and in this video I'm going to talk about thread twist, a video that will just accompany or do a little bit more than the video I just posted in Wayne Lou Allen's library. And it's just about thread twist as it suggests, and why is it so important for you to know how to twist the thread and when, and I'll just go a little bit more into it. So today I'm going to tie a wet fly. It's going to be super simple. It's nice for beginners, maybe more average tires, advanced tires. Hope that they will learn as well. And let's dive into it. I will be using just basically 4 materials. So hook is a wet fly hook. It's absolutely not important which hook you will use, as long as it serves your purpose, meaning that I want wet fly hook to sink a little bit. If I want something that will sink less, I will use dry fly hook. Shape, again, not so important, depends on the fly that you are making, so it's just kind of a style here. Body material will be this floss, which is quite thick, and the reason why I'm using this is mostly because you will see better how I tie this fly and what happens when you twist the thread one way or the other. So let's get into it. Third material will be CDC, and thread. I will start with nano silk thread. I'm using nano silk here. Primarily, well, it's not nano silk, it's GSP, but more or less same thing. I'm using it primarily because I will use a dubbing loop later on, and with those GSP threads or nano silk, if you're using Semperfli threads, you have more power, you can cinch down more, and you can make more firm connection between materials here. But also remember that nano silk or GSP is slippery, so it kind of, if you don't tighten it well, it can slip out. So I will just start with a reverse jam hitch here, and reverse jam hitch allows you to start your fly near the eye of the fly here. So I have a video on reverse jam hitch, and Wayne Lou Allen also has it, so you can look for it. So what allows me to do is to make a layer of thread, make a base for the materials to come, so I prevent slippage, because hook and GSP are both kind of slippery, and if you just go directly on the hook with GSP, it's not so tight connection. Anyway, I have this floss that I already cut, and now it's not aligned now. Usually if you cut it, it will get aligned, so I'm kind of spinning the bobbin holder in a counterclockwise manner. So you can see that I'm having like full control of the thread where I want to place it, and then pull towards me. I'm pulling it towards me because it prevents material from rotating. If I rotate the hook and I pull up, so soft wrap, pull, soft wrap, pull. This is not so important now, but if you have tails or something like that, it gets much more important. You can just compensate. Well, alternatively, pull your materials away from the hook and just let your thread slide down the material and fall right into where you want it to fall. Now, when I reach the bend, I'll just stop. I'm using very tight wraps, because if those wraps are not tight enough, when you make your first wrap, the thread will actually kind of move out of its place, and sometimes it can create some weird shapes on your fly. Okay, now I'll just take sharper scissors and cut this off. Whenever you're tying a fly, having a smooth base for everything that's going to come on it, it's better, because everything else you know you can plan on what you're doing. So if I'm looking from the above onto this, and if I twist the floss in a counterclockwise manner, when I start wrapping it, the floss will jump. When I release it, it's too twisted, so you cannot see. So when I release the tension, the floss jumps towards the tail of the fly, basically. So what it means is when I start wrapping, if I lose the tension, the floss will still jump and make tight wraps one next to another. So let me just do this again. Make those fibers more together without those misplaced fibers. And then I'll start wrapping. So I corded the thread, which will also make it much more strong. Corded thread is stronger than the flat one. So I lose the tension. Look what happens. I lose the tension. The thread still jumps where it belongs, where it should jump. And as I wrap, I'm also adding wraps. So you can notice my fingers are moving in the same, because when I make this wrap, here I unwrap it because it's counterclockwise. It would be the opposite if I was doing the different way of spinning this floss here. Now you can choose to add something in the thorax. I want to keep this simple because it's a technique thing. It's not so important to have all those elements on the fly. I just want to remove a little bit here, and then you'll see something that I usually do. I like to tie off the materials on the side of the hook. I'm keeping everything under tension because I don't want it to unwrap it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to make sure that it doesn't unwrap. So I'm gonna cut this here. I said 5, so I'm gonna go back. I think this is 5, I forgot to count. And that's it. Now you have nice base here to wrap any kind of hackle, whether you want rooster hackle or whatever, you can add it. I want to add CDC. Now I found a nice dark feather that will kind of complement the color purple. You can cut it perpendicular to the rachis if you want to make hackle more uniform, but I don't like to do those things. I like the randomness of the CDC. So I'll just make all those barbs perpendicular and I'll catch them with a clip. So now with a clip you can actually do a little bit of, there is a trick. If you make this angle, then you will effectively shorten those long ones a little bit. So if you don't want your hackle to be too random, you can do this and then just cut this like so. I said that GSP is very good for making those loops. Now I'll make a loop around my finger, then I go here 1, 2, and then around again 2, and I'll just lead this loop towards the abdomen area and go back with the thread. Try to keep everything as smooth as you can. My nasty little twister, nasty because of threads that are left over, and then just insert the CDC. Couldn't be more simple than this. I want to show you something. I took this CDC and put it very shallow. If you extend those buttons a little bit, it will create a little bit illusion of thorax. If you don't extend it, then you'll just add legs. Twist it, tighten. So I'm pulling the hook away from me and pulling the thread towards me to tighten everything here. You can fold it or not, it's up to you. I find that those kind of CDC flies. I love the, as I said, the randomness of them. It just looks very natural. And that's it. Now, because GSP, I said it's slippery, I twist the loop around the tying thread a couple of times, and then I wrap it normally. What this does is release the tension first. What this does is it just kind of catches this loop a little bit more firmly, and it won't, because of the tension of twisting, it won't pull out, and that's very important here. Flatten the GSP to make a whip finishing knot. Move those barbs away. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because, as I keep mentioning, this thread is slippery, I'll add 4 more or 3 more, whatever. You can add varnish if you like, but I hate varnish. I keep breaking this thread because it's very thin. It's new to me, so yeah. Now let's see what happens when we twist the thread clockwise. So I will use the same hook, same start, so press against your hook for a reverse jam hitch, go around with the tag end and towards you, and then keep the tension on, couple of reps, and then you have to do more reps with GSP than with regular thread because GSP is slippery, and that's one of the downsides of that thread. Now I'll just wrap everything here, counter spin the bobbin holder so you can catch thread more easily. Just align the tips here, counter it. So look what happens. If I spin it clockwise and I try to catch my thread here, it will just run away from me. If I spin it counterclockwise, it will just jump into my fingers and I'll be able to catch this so easily. Okay, keep it in the material, whatever, spring. Don't lick your fingers unless you're sure fur and materials are clean. To be honest, I'm not. I'm using very sparse amount of dubbing here. And this is probably more than enough. I'll remove what's unnecessary, and it's not tightly wrapped, tightly dubbed, just to give a little bit of movement to the fly and to kind of suggest life. You can see that this body doesn't look as neat as I usually do. And now the whole point of the video, I mean half of the point, I will twist this in the clockwise direction if you're looking at it from above, and when I start wrapping, if I release the tension, my ribs are still going to the way I actually want to rib them, so they're going towards the eye of the hook. Now add the twist. You don't have to add a twist here too much, because as you wrap you're adding twists because it's clockwise. As you wrap the thread that was that was twisted counterclockwise, you need to add those little twists in order to prevent the thread from flattening out. But it's up to you. You can add them if you want. And here I'll just do as I did before. 1 wrap is not enough, 2 are just right. Pull. 1 more. 1, 2, 3. I want to cut this and obviously finish the fly same way as I did the previous one with the CDC that you saw, and I think those flies will look magnificent. Maybe this one even more because it looks more buggy. I'm still making this taper over here and cutting everything perpendicular to the clip, and now I'll go deeper so you can see thorax here. that's also a nice thing to add to this video, I think. 1, 2, go around to keep everything together, and then go back and to the front. Hang your dubbing twister, insert the CDC deeper than previously, and you will see the effect now. Okay, that's it. Twist it. Because I'm keeping this loop under tension, I just usually don't think which way I will twist this twister, even though the same rules that I've just showed you apply to this. Because I keep the tension all the time here, I just don't need to care so much about it. So I'll just fold those back, fold those back. Let me see, did I go tight enough? Yep, that's okay. And you will see a little suggestion of thorax over here. Again, twist the loop thread around the tying thread and then just finish your fly. That's it. Cut the loop. You can use your hand as I did, or you can use a whip finish knot, but again, flatten the thread, super important. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. I'll do just one whip finish knot right now and cut it. Now let's put this back to life. I mean, basically, this is the wet fly. CDC is relatively sparse here. It's dark, so it's more visible, I think. And another fish catcher here. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, keep safe and tight lines.